Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Justin Young. He's Griffin Greenburg. This is the Fast Break right here on hoopscene.com. Appreciate you watching it right here on YouTube, on Hoopscene TV. Make sure you like and subscribe, hit the bell, do all the things that kids tell you to do to make your YouTube experience the very best that it can be. Griffin, what's up, man?
Nothing much. Just basketball. That's it.
Just basketball. No big deal. No big deal. Just April, just May, whatever. We're here. Just talking hoops. We're going to talk about the Under Armour next circuit today. We saw a lot of good stuff here in the city of Phoenix for the first live period of April. And we were there, got a chance to see some guys, maybe we don't ever get to see, which is really nice. Put some new names on the list, and we'll kind of want to go through it. Not really in like any sort of like, this is the best guy, this is the best team, but just some of the players that we saw at the Under Armour circuit stop and kind of go through them and kind of give our thoughts on some of the players that we saw. And kind of play a little player tennis. What do you say?
Sounds good to me.
Let's get the rackets out, bro. Let's start throwing the ball around and see where we go. I think we have to start with Derek Queen from Team Thrill. I think that's their best player. That's the gold standard. I think he's their highest ranked guy playing. Yeah. Is that right? Yeah, I think so. Playing Under Armour this year. That's a senior. How did you think he looked? How do you think he played? I thought he finished really, really, really good with Montverde. Did he carry that over to the shoe stuff?
Based on, if you watch him for a minute or two, you can definitely see he carried that over. He's such a dominant physical force inside, and he's been getting, he's been backing his range up a little bit. I see it, which he's, shot a couple threes this live period, but his mid range has looked pretty good as well. Something, he's shown he could test out heading into the high school season. But when we saw him in Arizona, it's like you just watch Team Thrill play, and it looked like he wouldn't do much just because he's only out there for 20 minutes maybe.
Not much,
they just blow teams out. And you look at the stats, and he's got like 18 points and 16 rebounds, which is just insane. So he's definitely carried his dominance from Montverde in the NIBC over to Team Thrill in that session one. And session two as well. I think he only had one game without a double-double. In that game, he still had 14 and 8. Team Thrill is just
they're tough. They're deep. Yeah. And listen, he's a high school version of Zebo. He's high school Zebo. Really is. He's Zach Randolph, high school Zach Randolph. Like, you can't stop him. When you said the range, literally, like, that's what I thought too. I was like, man, okay, he's going to add this to the game now. He's going to add this shot. All right. That's terrifying. I don't want to go.
It seems unfair with him out there. And Team Thrill's just blowing teams out by 20 every game.
There was a play. I remember he came barreling down the lane. Point guard hit him when he was sprinting down, caught it in traffic and flushed it home. And the defender made one of those career decisions, like, I'm not gonna mess up. I'm not gonna stand in the way of this guy coming through. And really, like, he's such a force. And I think that'll be kind of the theme, as they've got one more circuit stop left for Under Armour coming up in July for the live period. So, Derek Quinn, you mentioned Team Thrill. I really like this team because of how they guard. I think they guard really, really well. I think they're really tough. I think they're a team that likes to put the clamps on people. Anybody, like, who particularly did you like outside of Derek Queen on this Team Thrill roster? Chance
Mallory has just really surprised me in general for how, you could just see it in his play. He has such a high IQ, such a smart player, such a good shooter. I think you could argue he's definitely one of the most underrated players in that 2025 class, but also sneakily one of the best shooters in that class as well. And when you look at him, he's 5'9", and you may think like he's very limited in his game, but he can pretty much do it all.
Yeah.
Up there, and he's such a big part to that Team Thrill team, and it's tough to find him having just a bad game with Team Thrill. Even when he does, if he scores under 10 points, he's still making his mark, getting some assists, or he'll even get some rebounds. But he's such an advanced player and so smart. And his offers and his recruitment have really reflected that. He had some mid-major offers come into the live periods, and since he's picked up Maryland, Virginia Tech, and Seton Hall, so 3 really good schools as well, high-level schools, and he's just really impressed me overall.
Do you think he was pulling for Kansas State, just a hunch, in the NCAA tournament for another small guard? You think he was team small guard?
I think the small guards in high school basketball tend to root for the small guard. It helps, represent them better.
Sure. I think Under Armour actually had a lot of really good smaller guards that were really hard to stop and defend and really cause some havoc. I actually thought that was kind of a theme for the weekend there for me. Yeah, I was really impressed with Texas Impact 413. I really like that team a lot. I thought King Grace 2025 out of Waxahachie, Texas was maybe my favorite guy that I saw from the first session, to be honest with you. I thought his shot making ability was really good. His aggressiveness was very good. Defensively, I thought he caused a lot of problems. Like right now, I'm all about Devin Booker, the way he's playing in the playoffs. Like I think he is the alpha dog when it comes to guards in the NBA, the way he plays defensively. I saw a lot of that same sort of tenacity out of King Grace. I would not be surprised if he's watching a lot of Phoenix Suns games and really watching the way Devin Booker plays. Because I thought King Grace, not saying he is Devin Booker or going to be like that level, I just thought his style paid homage to what we've seen from the Phoenix Sun right now. Honestly, the way that he plays out at the same position, same size, out of that position. So I really like what King Grace brought to the table, but I really also like that Texas Impact team too a lot. I thought they played pretty really. I thought Aiden Richard was a blow up guy for them. Did you see much of Texas Impact?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there were another team that was must see just because of King and
Yeah.
Aiden. Also, Brooks Barr was really
Brooks
good.
Barr was phenomenal. Yeah, phenomenal player. Really like him a lot.
Facilitator all around. But I'm right with you on King Grace. I talked to him and I said, where do you think you rank amongst shooters in the 2020 class? And he said he thinks his top 3. And I was thinking about it myself, and I was like, he might be underrating himself a little. Like he might be the top shooter in that class. He's that good. I mean, I saw him having him 7 threes, and it feels like there's not a game where his shooting is off. He's always on point and hitting a bunch of shots. And I was excited. We also got to see him, display some athleticism a little bit, get to the hoop, which was good to see as well. But his shooting is just phenomenal.
Griffin, you won't believe. I'm going to tell you something, and you are going to think I'm a liar right now.
Let's hear it.
My first ever dunk I ever had in my life. Yes, I at one point in my young athletic career came at Waxahachie High School. Fun fact. We played there in a tournament. I think they're in our region. I grew up in that area in Texas. And Waxahachie, baby. Those rims. I might as well have my jersey retired there at Waxahachie High School. That was my one moment of glory. That's about all. That's all I ever did on basketball court. We had a dunk at Waxahachie High School. Let's keep it moving. Speaking about 2025 great shooters, I thought, listen, let's go down to Florida, SOH Elite with our guy, Shauna. Help me with the name. I didn't want to screw it up.
I got you, Justin. Shauna Bayev.
Thank you. I thought he was an absolute flamethrower, 6'7", can let that thing rip. And the way that he shoots it was as impressive as King was, honestly. But like Sean's shots, man, those things barely move the net. I was really impressed by him. Thought maybe top 40 is not out of the question for him in this really, really good 2025 class.
I think so too. And he's such a in control type of player that I think also doesn't get enough credit for his athleticism and some other components, to be honest. But his facilitating is very good. His shot making, like you mentioned, is excellent. It's not just catch and shoot, because he mostly has the ball in his hands a lot. So he takes a lot of pull up off the dribble shots, and a lot of them are contested. But he's definitely one of the more elite shot makers in that class. And I mean, he's just been amazing for SOH Elite on 17s.
Yeah, smooth with it, man. And again, to me, it's the size. It's that positional size where a lot of guys are 6'3", 6'4", 6'5". Sean's 6'7", man. Maybe even going to get taller than that too. Can really, really let that thing fly. I thought Ethan Lathan, by the way, is also another guy on that team, 6'10". A lot of buzz on him coming out of the early live periods. I think he's still got a long ways to go, but that ceiling and that long-term potential is what kind of keeps these guys coming back. A lot of ACC schools were there. I wouldn't be surprised if a number of schools, because we talked about this before, not a lot of bigs in this class nationwide that I think really moved the needle. Ethan Lathan, to me, could be a guy that really sees his name every single week kind of bump up even more.
Yeah, I'd say so too. We've seen him, bounce around a little bit, and some people have I mean, noticed that, and it's kind of reflected in the rankings. But so far he's been definitely one of the best players on that SOH Elite team. And I know he had a big weekend out in South Carolina for the second session. He's someone who's really impressed me as well thus far.
Yeah. I never grow tired of watching really good teams that know how to play basketball and execute. And Illinois Wolves, as long as I've been in this business, wherever I go and if they're there, I have to go watch them play, almost just to kind of reset the compass to direct north, literally to true north, to make sure that I can appreciate how basketball was designed to play. And that's been happening now for me for 20 plus years watching this program play. And this year's team is just like any other Illinois Wolves team. They've got really good guards, big bigs that can go and run the floor inside. They've got an athletic wing, which they always do. And I think this year's team kind of falls in line. Who on that Illinois Wolves team impressed you?
I mean, Cole Serta's just been phenomenal so far. His shooting has been really impressive, but I think his playmaking ability is something that gets a little bit underrated. And he's a guy that can really just hold his own with anyone, I'd say. Like anyone out there, he can hold his own. And some people, some people just see him really as a shooter, but he does so much more. And he's such a huge part for that team in general. I don't know if you were watching the game. I think it was Houston Defenders.
I did watch that game.
Yeah, out in Arizona. And they were face guarding him the second the ball was inbounded. They wouldn't let him touch it. And I think it was like 3 plays in a row where the refs called a foul because they were just so up in his grill that they didn't want him to touch the ball. And he still had, I think, 30 points that game. So.
Yeah, he commands attention for sure. And you're right. Like I was going to say, he cooked them. He absolutely cooked them. Yeah. And that was the game that I watched. I was really impressed by him for sure. Let's talk about West Coast Elite, man. They were undefeated in Phoenix. I don't know what they did the second live period. I didn't look. Are they still undefeated on the season?
No, they picked
up a loss.
They played well, but they had UA had their little championship series for that second live period out in South Carolina. They played Team Thrill and ended up losing, but I think it was
got it. Well, nevertheless, I mean, West Coast Elite, I think is I really like the size of that team. They've got great size across the board. VJ Miller, obviously, that you've seen quite a bit of AZ Compass is interchangeable. I really thought Nasir Meyer played really well. And Phoenix is a guy that, even maybe some people in California, I don't think, I shouldn't say this, like, not want to say not high on, but I think if they saw him with this West Coast Elite team, like, man, he played really well, probably better than I maybe have seen him play before. I thought he played really, really well. Yeah, he did. And so I thought he played really well enough to like kind of raise his stock with some coaches. Man, I really like, I'm totally drawing a blank. I didn't write it down. Point guard from West Ranch. Daryl Morris. I am all about that guy. That guy compete every single time I've seen him play, whether it's Section 7, whether it's, I'm sure we saw him at Border League. I mean, wherever I've seen him play, even scholastically, that dude comes with it, with all the gas in the tank, and I love how hard he competes. I think that dude, and I tweeted this out, that dude's going to wreck a bracket when he's in college when he goes to the right place because he's so competitive. He's a big game guard, even as a 5'8" point guard. I love what he brings to the table.
Definitely. I mean, you mentioned it's so competitive, such a high motor player. Can shoot the ball, really can get to the hoop. He's so quick out there, and he's just, you can see why he's just such a tough player for the defense to figure out, really.
Best game I saw. Did you see the Canada Elite Team Curry game?
I did. That was a really good game. I like. I think Dominic Pangonis is very good players who's pretty underrated, but he's just had a great overall couple sessions for Canada Elite, and then Team Curry, as we know, has a few standout players as well.
I thought Jace Nathaniel, if he was kind of coming into the event, I think kind of in the crosshairs of moving from mid-major to high major, I think he solidified himself as a no-brainer, go get him, high major kind of player. I really like that Team Curry team a lot. Sir Muhammad, I would take him all day on my team.
I'll give you another name too on that Team Curry team. I've been really high on Ari Fulton. I think he's 6'6", 6'7" forward that can shoot a little bit, brings so much energy. Like,
fun fact. Sorry, he was on our first team Hoop Scene Association last year with Team Wall as a 16U. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not surprised just based on what I've seen from him this summer, but he's someone that's really impressed me on that Team Curry squad, and I think a pretty underrated piece on that team as well. I talked to him, he only has one offer. I forget where it's from, but he's someone that should definitely move up in those rankings and just in the recruitment scene overall.
Sure. I feel like we buried the lead here, by the way, on your guy Pangonis from Canada Elite. He has to unequivocally be invited to every single Pangos camp that there is. Pangonis has to be at the Pangos camp. Like, he has to be. Dinos, if you're watching, you're probably not, but if you are, get this man at every camp you have in the calendar the rest of the year, please. You just got to do it. He's, by the way, Dinos is running a camp in Greece this year, and kind of want to go. A couple other housekeeping notes. I really liked Bryson Tiller. Looked really good from the last time I saw him. Last time I saw him, I think I watched him on film, but when you see guys in person, like, holy cow, looks so good. Looks like an absolute stud in the 2025 class. I thought Chase McCarty for the Atlantic Express really did some good things. We've really liked him a lot. Garrett Tucker really liked him a lot. I watched a ton of film of him in the state playoffs. He was phenomenal. Big wing. Can shoot, can score, really smart, good in the classroom. I thought he was really, really good too. Who else? I'm trying to think of if we've covered everybody that I really liked. It feels like 10 months ago already in my brain. Anybody else stand out to you, Under Armour?
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna, like you mentioned, I was gonna talk about Chase McCarty a little bit. He's been just phenomenal in general. He was one of the top players out in South Carolina this weekend, and last week he only played 3 out of their 5 games, but still he averaged over 17 and about 5.5 rebounds a game. I mean, he's just another one of those players that really can shoot the lights out and doesn't get, I think, enough credit for his defense, especially in transition, which I thought was something that impressed me. He had, a few blocks on the weekend as well, but Ryan Mela on Middlesex Magic is another player we haven't touched on that has just been lights out for that team. And that's a team that's performing at a very high level right now. They're 6-1, I think. But he's just shown how well he scores the ball on that team in general. And they're another team that just plays great basketball. They just make it
really good. Fun to watch, man. Fun to watch. I got to give a shout out to our guys at Pro One. We saw them at the Bama Jam play really well. Ty Davis is a guy picking up a lot of offers from a lot of different levels. A guy that we're pretty high on as well, Simon Walker, 2025 guard, also a guy that's picking up a lot of offers. So it's cool to see those guys doing their thing on the UA Rise. So a lot more stuff to come. We have a lot of coverage coming up. Some of these teams are actually playing with us in the Bob Gibbons Tournament of Champions coming up next weekend, May 12th through the 14th at the legendary Swanee Sports Academy in Metro Atlanta. So keep your eyes open for that. Until then, Griffin, this has been good stuff, man. It's been fun to go over these shoe stuff with you. Appreciate your insight. Appreciate all your work. And look forward to doing this again.
It's always fun. Thank you, Justin.
Appreciate you.